Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Mike, and thanks for jumping on with me today. Hey, quick question. Are you going to be out of real estate in 2022? Wow, there's a great way to get the week started, huh? Let's come back to that question in a couple of minutes. You know, traditionally, the holidays are not the slowest time of year for sales in Atlanta. They're not. Statistically, that's not true. December here in my office is going to be a record month, and November and December typically are very good months. So the whole concept of people don't buy and sell homes during the holidays, well, that's just statistically not true. But statistically, what is true? January, February, and March. Yeah, February's the worst. January, February, and March statistically are the slowest times of year for sales in Atlanta. And there's reasons. Some of you are going to say, well, see, people weren't out looking for homes in December, so closings are down in January and February. Yeah, nah, that's not true. I look outside my office and everybody's very busy right now. Everybody's got a number of customers that they're trying to help right now. Listings are coming to the market every day. Could it be, this is crazy talk, I think. Could it be that agents simply stop working in December and we coast? And this has been true every year. So I've been in Atlanta real estate for a long time now, and it's been true when I first got in, and it stayed true throughout those 3 decades. You know, real estate's a process, right? I mean, rarely do I come in contact with a customer today, whether they're a buyer or the seller, and they immediately transact and we close within 3 to 4 weeks. I mean, from the time I first met them to the closing usually is much longer than 30 days, right? It might be 30 days for the closing process, but we had to find that house or get that house ready to put up for sale. There were months, and there were even months before that when I had to go through the marketing efforts to acquire that customer, right? But what happens if I'm not doing that in December because I'm coasting? You know, what I'm closing today is a result of the work which I did this summer and this fall, right? So if you agree with that, then the work that I'm doing right now will be the closings that I have in January, February, and March. Does that make sense? So what we're doing now is incredibly important. And you know my thing, it's called a holiday, right? Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving are a holiday. It's not a holla month, right? How many of us is that true for? Well, no, this is a holla month. I just take the whole month off, or I take weeks off this time of year. And I justify it by saying things that aren't true. Like, well, there's really nothing I could be doing right now anyhow. People aren't buying and selling. Well, okay, I'll even go along with that myth, though that's not true, and say, well, even if people aren't buying and selling, shouldn't you be in the process of acquiring the customers so that they will be buying and selling in January, February, and March? Shouldn't we be doing that every day, even if they're not going to transact right now for this myth that we've all bought into? We could be putting ourselves in position of becoming the top of mind, credible expert. Couldn't we? Are we going to be in the real estate business in 2022? I really think it depends on how hard you're willing to hit the accelerator right now. Are you going to treat it like a holiday or a holla month? Here's what I want you to do. Here's an action step that I want you to ask you to take this morning. I want you to email me the names of your first 10 transactions for 2022. Just send me an email right now. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, Mr. Callaway. Just email me your first 10 customer transactions for 2022. And if you can do that, I think you've put yourself in a pretty good position. But my guess is that most of us right now, as we sit here right this second, we're even close to our first 10 transactions. And that's going to be why January and February, March are going to be really slow. So here's my next tip. Okay, first I want you to email me because I want to put you intimately in touch with where you are right now. Let's see how many customers you can actually send their names to me for 2022. They're going to buy, they're going to sell. I know who they are. We're in the process of getting ready to do that. Do you have at least 10? The next thing I want to leave you with this morning is, how many of you have read Chris Voss's book, You Can Negotiate, excuse me, I was going to give you the wrong book there for a second. Chris Voss wrote Never Split the Difference, right? How many of you have read that book? And if you haven't, well, do yourself a favor. Get the damn book and read it or listen to it. Okay, do yourself a favor, because you're hurting yourself if you haven't. But if you've read the book, you know what I mean by the definitive negative, right? The definitive negative. I want people to say no, because it's such a paradigm-breaking way of interacting with people. Get them to say no. And here's the question. I want you to go back to all your leads, your opportunities for the past 6 months. This is what I want you to do in December. And I want you to text them this question. Are you out of real estate in 2022? Are you out of real estate in 2022? And see how they respond to you. So go back to all your leads for the past 6 months. Text them that question. Are you out of real estate in 2022? Then after you do that, I want you to ask it of yourself. Are you out of real estate in 2022? And if your answer is no, then what are you going to do to make sure that you're not out of real estate in 2022? And by implementing these few suggestions this morning, this is how, folks, we're going to go out there and we're going to start to make it happen for ourselves today.